Hello and welcome to the Christmas special of Matthew's Blueprint for Britain. We have got the family back together. It's like Home Alone. It's just everyone's together now. It's going to be great. I am joined by two of, well, I would like to say some of my closest political friends, because politics is, you don't really have friends anyway. It is Craig Smith and Marcus Jones, two people who I got to know really, really well earlier this year with the local elections up in Nottinghamshire and Leicestershire. Guys, how are you? Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and all of the other festivities we have to say to each other.
Happy Christmas. Yeah, we're almost there.
How's everything going, Marcus?
Do you know what? Craig and I just said, we're knackered. It's been a long year. It's when you look at everything that's gone on this year, you would write a book. And you would write a book on every single bit, but that's why we're doing the podcast, because we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, speaking of a book, shameless plug now to go get your copy of a Blueprint.
Somebody did write a book.
You know, I have said, I had someone say to me, when's the follow-up coming out about the 2025 fund that we had? And then I said, well, hold on, my elections are next year and mine haven't been cancelled, so I'm going to have 3 books then. So maybe, who knows, I might sit down and write some little memoirs and share it with you guys. But no, it's been a very busy year, not just for us, but for just the country as a whole. I mean, you talk about this Labour government and everything that they're going through, the Conservatives having somewhat of a revival under Kemi at the end of this year. And then Zach Grower-Pear Polanski reviving the Green Party. I mean, Craig, where do we begin? How's it gone for the Labour Party this year?
Well, I think Her Late Majesty described 97 as a annus horribilis. And I think this has definitely got to be Labour Party's annus horribilis, but that's what you get when you've got an annus as your leader, I suppose. So.
Very good.
You like that?
Very good.
But yeah, they've had a terrible year, haven't they?
It's been bad. I mean, Marcus, is it recoverable for Labour? Do they need to change the Grinch in number 10?
I think the concern for Labour is actually the impact on the country. So we can talk about the party, political stuff, but actually look at the deeper ripple effect it's actually having on businesses, individuals, families. I was Christmas shopping earlier and I happened to pick up a paper and the headline is, Reeves raids Christmas as a front line on one of the pages. And that headline's not wrong. You can feel it. And so for me, it's actually the bigger story is the impact Labour's having on the country, not just the political satire, shall we say, which is hilarious. I mean, talk about a merry-go-roundabout, but it's actually a fair. It's like going to a fair and seeing all the different rides and wondering what you come out with at the end, which is a headache, to be fair.
No, I know. I mean, Marcus, careful though. You got very close to mansplaining to the Chancellor what the job of the Chancellor is. We don't want to get cancelled on this platform, even though, it has just been disaster after disaster. I mean, over the last year, they've had ministers resign, they've had scandal, everything with the budget about being leaked beforehand, freebies, all of these sorts of things. They said they'd be, whiter than white, cleaner than clean. They've been nothing but a disaster. Do you think it's going to get any better for them in 2026? Do you think Keir Starmer, this is his last Christmas? Craig, what's your thoughts?
Well, I hope it's his last Christmas because that's one of my favourite Christmas songs, and apparently it's going to get banned down the pub now because of the new unemployment bill. So landlords now have to have third-party responsibility for any lyrics that are in a song that may offend their customers or their employees. You just can't write this. It's getting, obviously woke is... We thought woke was
it's literally
driving back right in, now. But it's getting worse and worse again under this Labour government. But yeah, 26, he's got to go. Part of me doesn't want him to go. You can't have, from an opposition point of view, a better leader than Keir Starmer because he's doing everything wrong.
And Marcus, you were talking about businesses. Obviously, the Grinch who stole Christmas, Rachel from Accounts. Is that enough mansplaining for you, Rachel? She has led this economy down the pan and to the floor, effectively. Unemployment up every single month. Obviously, you're both business owners, businessmen, hardworking individuals. don't know if we define you as working people, because no one knows what the heck a definition of a working person is, apparently. But Marcus, she's got to go as well. Both Keir and Rachel have absolutely destroyed Britain.
Well, I'm going to come back to what you said earlier on about the budget. I mean, the whole circus, because that's what it was, the circus leading up to the budget, actually tells the whole story of this year. With regards to the economy, with regards to, how businesses are feeling. And then when the budget was delivered early, in the ether of the OBR doing what they did. Craig and I were down in London at the time. I think we were in the Two Chairmen's pub, I think from memory, watching it or trying to. and you've got to say, I actually felt it was quite deliberate. They were hoping to soften the blow of the information out.
Bake it in.
But when you dial forward, let me tell you how it feels. It feels like quarter one's going to be a tough quarter, and businesses like mine, like Craig's, we're still holding back. It'll affect recruitment. It'll affect the people on the shop floor. And what it will do more than anything else, it'll show in the numbers that the economy is not stagnating, is going backwards.
Yeah. We are so close to a recession, I fear, in this country. And just talking down Britain, there is no surprise at the state that they are, that when I ran a poll of what Christmas jumper my followers would like me to wear, one with Keir Starmer's face on and Jingle Bell End came in a third place. So there's that one. I'll link it below to anyone who wants to wear that. Problem is, if I wore that, I'd probably end up in the gulag or something. So with this government, so I'm moving swiftly on. The Conservative Party, it has been a tale of two halves, I think, this year. The first half of this year, slipping in the polls, question marks about when, not if, Kemi was going. An absolutely stunning party conference, effectively pulling the every single card, showing a united team and a really great speech. And then since then, she's been smashing it at PMQs, really getting into the swing of things, and seems to have solidified herself as the future for the Conservative Party. I mean, Marcus, did you expect this? What's your views on the Conservatives' two parts this year?
It is actually a great way of putting it. Now, what I would say, and this came up in a conversation I had recently, and it was the lead up to conference, the way you could feel conference building, the conversations going on at conference, and we were all there. We were chatting away at the bars and getting the feel of it, and the little conversations. Where's this surprise coming from with Kemi? How is she going to unite people? And then that last day, that speech, that delivery, that confident delivery, everybody walked away wanting to go out there and deliver that message. And in fact, it gave everybody a message to deliver. That's carried on. And that's carried on in a very strategic way. I don't believe things happen by accident. And I believe that what Kemi's got around her now is a team that are looking at every move strategically, what's going out as comms, what's going out with the shadow cabinet. And they are making sure that they are not misstepping each other. But importantly, the attack and the highlighting of the failure of Labour on every single policy, whether it be the farmers, whether it be what's going on with regards to employment legislation. And you could have a list of, 20 things that actually, through the great research that they're doing within our party, they've just been able to pull them apart. More importantly, we're now able to show and say, here's our policies. And I have to say, we all wanted her to come out quicker, and there's no one more impatient than me. But fair play, she stuck to her guns. And guess what? The delivery is now giving the results.
Yeah, I mean, I annoyingly left early and didn't see the speech because I wanted to beat the traffic on the motorway. So I was listening to it and I thought, crikey, this is absolutely, it's stunning. Craig, what were your thoughts? And do you think now this is going to continue? We've seen a rising in the polls. The Conservatives are now second place. We're still quite a far way behind Reform, but second at least. Kemi's rising up in popularity as party leader. I mean, what next for the Conservatives, Craig?
Well, I think what we've seen now from Kemi is actually Kemi. I was critical. I was annoyed. I was frustrated for the first sort of 12 months that nothing seemed to be coming out of number 4 Matthew Parker Street. We were hearing nothing from CCHQ, and it was frustrating. When Marcus and I talked about this, we need action. We're just going to be sidelined if we don't do something. But having spoke to somebody that knows Kemi really, really well, he actually was on her selection as an MP many years ago, and he said, "Just you wait. She's a smart cookie. She's doing all this on purpose." And you know what? He was right, because October was the Kemi 2.0 relaunch. And ever since, like you said, her speech was amazing. Every single week in PMQs, not only has she got better, but she's got more comfortable. And she's absolutely dissecting the front bench opposite now. And every single week we're seeing a better version of Kemi that is there having fun, but talking about serious issues and getting her point across in a Conservative way. And I just cannot wait to see how she progresses in 26.
Yeah, if she carries on like this in 2026, it's going to be absolutely impressive, and the story of a turnaround, I think. I cannot understand. I was as vocal as you guys when it came to Kemi, saying we need more, we need to be punching, we need to be going way faster and quicker. We had that, May elections this year when we lost hundreds and hundreds of really hard-working councillors. I was arguing, right, come on, where's our policy? No one knows what we stand for. But to have that party conference where not only did we announce so many policies, but we did it in the way of almost like we were back in government. Who knows what the future holds? I mean, next year is going to be, if this carries on, I think Reform might start getting pretty worried, because they don't have that right of reply in PMQs. They aren't the official government, the opposition. They are 5 MPs. They don't get that opportunity to hit back every week at Keir Starmer or at Ken Badnock. So it's going to be interesting to see, I think, with them. Moving on to Reform, the jumper which came second in my jumper poll was this one. Nigel Farage, Merry Christmas, snowflakes. So, no snowflakes allowed on this podcast. So we'll put that one over there.
Well, I'm glad it's not a football top. I'm glad it's not a football top. That's all I can say.
No. Right, Reform. They've obviously had, you'd argue, the best year for 2025. They've shot up in the polls. They've kept themselves there at around 30%. That would form a huge supermajority government for Reform, one of the biggest swings of an incumbent and outgoing governments. Reform, look, come on, guys. They're going to be the next government, aren't they? I mean, Marcus, Reform have won it already. We might as well throw the tea towel in.
There's an old saying I have, and that's one hot day does not make a summer. And they've had a few hot days this year, granted. But, and this is where the but comes in, the wheels are starting to come off. And they're coming off in different areas. Yes, they've taken a few ex-Tories who were MPs who lost their seats. And let's remind ourselves, some of these MPs are the MPs that caused some of the problem between 2019 and 2024 for the Tory party at the time. And they want to go now and recreate themselves at Reform and try and get everybody to believe it's okay. But that's just one point. The second point for me is, how can you trust someone who won't get into the detail? How can you trust someone that when they're challenged, and Craig's challenged, I've challenged, they don't like challenge. They don't like being challenged in details. They run. And the other thing we've demonstrated, they're beatable. Craig has demonstrated beatable in the areas around...
This week.
This week.
Yeah, we won one in Market Harbour.
And
fantastic.
We've shown it in Nottinghamshire, Nuttall and Strelly. 5 votes. They all count. But the one thing that Craig and I were talking about again the other day, that some of the results, we've lost by 2 votes, 10 votes, 26, whatever it be. Then others we've won more significantly. That gap has closed, and that gap has closed significantly since conference. That tells a story. But I want to come back to the one. They haven't got the detail. They're holding on to the curtains of the Conservative policies locally in councils that we're feeding through. As they go into next year, it's more on them. And my view is they're going to fail. They are failing. And the public are starting to notice the cracks.
Right, Craig, as someone who has to deal with a reform-run council, all the time, and as the only one who managed to actually beat them in the North West Leicestershire elections, do you see what Marcus is seeing, where the councils the wheels are falling off the turquoise bus?
Absolutely. I mean, Marcus mentioned a word there that I think is really important. That word is trust. You cannot seem to trust people that have nothing to fall behind. And they've got one thing to fall behind, and that's Nigel Farage. And as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, when Nigel Farage is under pressure and he starts lashing out, trying to save his own political skin, the rest of the party just fall into disarray. And we've had this week lots of memes going out with you just can't trust Tories, never trust a Tory. Well, they've got 28 ex-Tory MPs now. In Leicestershire, they've got an ex-Tory leader of the county council, and one of their chairmen, North West Leicestershire, is an ex-Tory as well. Does Nigel Farage not trust those people either? Because I certainly don't. But the thing is with them as well, is these are not Tories. These people cannot be Tories because they've just gone wherever they think they're going to get elected the easiest next. They're not workers. They're not people that want to change from within. We know, all three of us know, that the Conservative Party didn't do what a Conservative Party should do in the last government. However, Kemi is not that last government. She was a member of it, sure enough, but she wasn't a leading figure within that government. She wasn't the Deputy Prime Minister. She wasn't the Prime Minister. What she is Kemi Badenoch with a whole new set of people around her, a really tight group that want to make a real difference and bring back proper Conservative values, principles and policies. And that's what we're seeing now. So my argument is never trust reform.
Never trust reform. Well, maybe that'll be on a Christmas jumper next year. Speaking of Christmas jumpers, I think it's probably time to point out the what is it, stag in the room. Let's look at these Christmas jumpers here. I mean, Marcus, absolute. Look at that, and it's like a Nordic view and a stag and a Marcus. That is lovely, isn't it?
Well, I've got the stag. He's got the tag.
and Craig sold himself out, and he's no longer British.
I'm not a sellout. I'm not a sellout. I've been a Bulls, mighty Bulls fan.
Red Bull, Max Verstappen. Yes, disgraceful.
I've been a Red Bulls fan for years and years, even when we won nothing. And to be honest, I don't think we're going to win much for the next few years either. But I'll still be wearing it. You don't change your shirt just because your team's not doing great.
You have to admit, though, when Lando won the title, you were happy for him as a Brit as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I like Lando. He's nice.
Lando's cool.
Yeah, there's another British driver that I don't like and never have, but we won't mention him. He's probably eating pizza somewhere.
And then the jumper that did win my poll was obviously the one with the biggest Union flag on it. Yule Britannia is what it says at the bottom. I mean, yeah, look, come on. It's Christmas, but there's always got to be a Union Jack in my life. I've got one on the radiator over there. I've got a cupboard of the shirts over there. I'd be raided if the police turned up. No, it is good. What's Christmas plans? Come on. Who's cooking the turkey? I mean, the Labour Party would be a bit weird to cook them, but anyways.
They're goosed. Never mind turkey. They're goosed.
Well, they're not voting for Christmas because they're cancelling elections as well across the country. But who? So we've got goose, turkey. Anyone doing anything wacky? Any weird Christmas traditions?
I think we've got rack of ribs.
Well,
ribs.
Yeah, my brother's quite a chef. We're all going around my brother's, and he comes up with all these wonderful concoctions. So,
not sure on that one. Marcus, anything for you?
Turkey all the way, but I will say there is a tradition, and I'll always blame Mother Jones for this. And the tradition is Sherry trifle.
Cherry trifle. Christ, I can't wait to dial into you on Boxing Day. It'll be brilliant. Right, okay, look, there's probably a couple other parties we need to have a little mention about. One being the Lib Dems and the Greens. I mean, the Lib Dems seem to have just stayed where they are in every poll that ever is and just haven't really changed. But the Greens have doubled in the polling since I think Zach Polanski became leader. So, I mean, are we seeing the proof of how sometimes changing leader can really, really work? The Greens have absolutely pulled an ace card. They're now ahead of the Lib Dems in a lot of polls. I mean, Craig, what's your thoughts on those two?
Well, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about them, to be fair, but
Probably better.
I'd just like to point out that, like I said earlier, we did actually beat the Lib Dems in Market Harborough this week, a seat that they've held for numerous years. So they are beatable. With regard to the Greens and Zach Polanski, yeah, I give him his due. He's come out of nowhere. He's not really my cup of tea, if I'm honest. I think a lot of the Labour vote is looking for somewhere to go that they can never vote for Tory, would never vote for Reform. Probably know that, like most people, that a Lib Dem vote is a wasted vote. So they're thinking, where can we go? And Green, why not? Let's put an X in there, see how it goes.
Marcus, do you think the Green Party might be the reform for the Conservatives? They are the reform for Labour. Are they that bit more of a proper left-wing party?
Well, I'll tell you what the Green Party is. The Green Party is anybody who goes to Reform that doesn't get selected and then hugs a tree is going to be their candidate. That's probably the first thing I'd say. Secondly, that's my bit.
Say it as it is. I love it. Yeah. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, but actually, on a more serious note, I'm going to give some credibility here, because there is one party that's selecting candidates already down the south of the country, and they're coming out the traps quite quickly. But they're obviously not doing their homework on some of their candidates. Who one was previously arrested, another one was bankrupt. That's already coming out in some of the news already. So for me, they're great. Carry on. But the Greens, there's an interesting one on the Greens, because it's where their money comes from that interests me. That's the big question, and it's not from this country. It's hilarious, isn't it? But we could say that about Reform as well. But I think that with these parties, there's an opportunity in it for us, because we'll take those votes. These will be the votes that we will squeeze, that we will take when we're campaigning, knocking the doors and convincing people, because people are convinced that we're the party of business, we're the party of certainly the working person, and certainly we are all working people, because we get up early in the morning, we get out home late at night, like the majority of this country. So from my point of view, I think the Greens and any other small party is there to take as a next election, as we've shown in different areas, like this week, Market Harborough. So from my point of view, for those who don't want to be following the Tories, feel like they can't stay with Labour, feel like that Reform's not the place for them, go and hug a tree and you can be part of Greens.
And remember, if someone from the Green Party comes and says, I can increase the size of your baubles, run. Don't give in to him. That was my attempt at what Keir Starmer said to Reform. If three wise men from the East turn up, reporting to the police this time. I thought that was a cracking line from Keir.
It was good. Look, it was probably his best line since he became PM.
The only thing he could have said better is, I'm Keir Starmer and I resign. That would have been the Christmas present for everybody. But, we shall wish and hope. Your party, our party, whatever the party is party, the party for no one party, the West Gaza party, whatever the parties become. I mean, the shambles of Zara Sultana and Jeremy Corbyn's new outfit. I mean, crikey, Marcus, that's just, it's like, how did they get this so badly wrong?
Oh, they got Jeremy Corbyn there.
Oh, fair point. True. Fair point. No need for anything more.
No, actually, I think what we've got to be careful of now in all of our commentary, we can never say your party again when we're talking about other parties. So we've got to be careful there. But listen, I think if there's one thing it does show, it shows the public that why there are certain parties that are credible and the other parties are not credible. And I'm not talking about policy. I'm talking about people. I'm talking about MPs are supposed to represent where they're from, as in where they live. And for me, hold on a minute, can we talk about what's happening in the constituencies, not what's happening, 3,000 miles away or whatever? And I don't get it. I've got it here in Nottingham. I've got an MP in central Nottingham that never talks about Nottingham City, that's got big issues with knife crime, huge issues with knife crime, and yet never talked about. And this week alone, we've had the Police Crime Commissioner apparently threaten charities who talk about knife crime. So for me, going back to your party, not our party, Jeremy Corbyn and whoever Corbynites that he's got following him, let them carry on. I think Plaid Cymru's got more relevance than they have.
I think Plaid Cymru will end up with more elected representatives than them at the next elections. The elections in May, I think we could see Plaid possibly running Wales, which would be an interesting scenario given Labour have run Wales for over a century. Craig, how bad has your party performance been in comparison to Red Bull's number 2 driver that no one can ever remember who it is because they keep changing the driver?
Well, we change them. It's a bit like them changing their leader, is it? Have they actually got a leader? I don't if they keep changing the rules.
No, it has to be a co-opted panel of leaders.
So they're going to have all their guys as leaders. Fantastic. I think Marcus said it right there. What do they stand for? What have they said about the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland?
Yeah.
Not a word. It's radio silence. They're not interested in anything domestic. They're only interested in other countries and foreign policy. And I don't think that their foreign policy would benefit the United Kingdom either. So let them fight. Let them fight each other, because they're not going to be fighting us on an election front. Not a chance.
No, and even Zara Sultana has a reputation now for talking about anyone apart from her Country South constituents. I feel so sorry for them because they get radio silence from their own MP, who is elected and paid by their taxes to represent them, but then goes and represents whoever the hell they want. It's just, less said about that party, the better. 2026, it's going to be a bumper year. We got the local elections in May in England, in Scotland, in London, lots of places in England. Some of them might be cancelled. Mine definitely aren't. So that I know that for certain. What do we think is going to happen in May? Is this the crunch point for the Labour Party? They're going to get a battering pretty much everywhere they stand. Is that going to be the thing that gets rid of Keir Starmer? Marcus, let's start with you.
I'm going to come back to something you said earlier, and I'm going to talk about the land I grew up in, Wales. And I think that is the acid test. As you rightly said, Wales has been predominantly Labour for many, many years. And when I grew up in the 70s there, very much, a big part of it was due to, the Labour field, coal mines, etc. But I've got family still back there, and you talk to them, and you can firstly see that absolutely Labour are destroyed down there. They're going to be wiped out. Labour are going to have a less percentage vote to a degree than ourselves. We're not going to win the seats. We're going to be honest with ourselves. We're not going to win Wales over straight away. It's going to take a decade to rebuild down there. Reform, they've made a great mistake with Caerphilly. They sent an Englishman in to win Wales. Now, forgive me, you don't send an Englishman in to win something in Wales. And when you send Lee Anderson into Caerphilly, they were never going to win it. The interesting thing is, on a serious note, with Plaid Cymru and their leader, he is talking about the constituency. He's talking about what's going on within the towns, within the cities. He's talking about the people on the ground. And he is absolutely winning the room. And it's very simple. He is talking about the potential of Wales. He is talking about what could be done, and he is steering away from the nonsense of reform and the attacks that reform are having on him. And he's very passionate, and that passion's coming through. But I think Wales is the barometer for Keir Starmer and for a few other people on that front bench of Labour. And I think that from that is D-Day for Starmer, 100%. And many of, should we say, those in his cabinet who are not back in business, especially. So that's my take on it. So Wales, that's the big one.
Craig, thoughts? Are we finally going to get rid of Keir Starmer when it all comes crashing down? Is he even going to fall on the sword, or will he push someone else onto it first?
Well, I think Starmer checked out about 12 months ago, to be fair, but there's plenty of people vying for his spot at the minute. But I think next year is going to be really, really interesting. And I say this as a Conservative, 6, 7, 8 months ago, we were talking about potentially getting wiped out ourselves. And, it could have an effect on the leadership and everything like that. Because ultimately, although they're local elections, people are still in the mind to vote nationally at the local elections. And they still want to punish the Tories. Some do.
Yeah.
But I think now people really want to punish Labour. And, even people that voted Labour for years are not going to vote Labour in May. But interestingly, I think a lot of the people that were angry with the Tories, that had always voted Tories, that would never vote Tory again, and maybe lent their vote in protest to reform, I think we're getting a lot of those back. In fact, I'll rephrase that. I think Kemi's getting a lot of those back. I think she's winning them over, and I think we're going to see, potentially we're not going to win as many as we currently have, potentially, but bearing in mind when we were talking, like I say, 7 or 8 months ago, where we were praying we wouldn't get wiped out, I actually think we're going to do really well. And if we can get enough people like myself, Marcus, and other great councillors that we work with to go out there, to knock on doors, to campaign as hard as we do, I actually think we could hold what we've got. And you never know, we could even make a few gains.
And remember, there is a blueprint for how you can do this, because we won with you, Craig. We smashed it with you, Marcus. And what didn't get across the line. We made sure everyone knew who you were. You then went and used that in the by-election to win by 5 votes. It is possible, right? People writing off the Conservative Party as this dead party. It isn't. It's all about the campaigning, the techniques, the people that you've got on the grassroots actually running it. So it is absolutely possible. I do think there are going to be some surprising elections. Remember London as well, where we've got elections. That is Labour's heart. It is cities. They are going to face, they run most of the councils in London. And I know for a fact, they know they're going down. They know that they're going to lose councils in May in London. And I think that's a worry for Labour. If they are starting to lose in the cities, the polls already say they're losing in the country, in the Midlands. Where on earth do they have left come the next general election? I fail to see it personally.
The job centre, I think.
Well, the problem is unemployment's gone up every single month since Labour got in, so they'll be right at the back of the queue. 2026, any other things we think are going to happen? Do we think we're going to get this early election come 2027 that Nigel talking about? Or will Nigel even still be leader of Reform? Will Reform still have 5 MPs? What do we think is going to happen there?
I think with Reform, they're probably going to do a bit more okey-cokey in, one out. It's how they keep working it. I think we are going to see Reform starting to go down in the polls. They peak way too early. And I think after May, as we're being held to account, because one of the good things about, I say good thing, when we got whitewashed back in May this year, what we now see in 7 months on is pretty much every single Reform-controlled county council in difficulty.
Yeah,
they're failing on their promises.
They thought it would be.
It's not. They're failing on their promises. They're not getting anything through that they wanted to get through. They've not stopped any of the immigrants coming down the Trent as they promised they would on their leaflets. They've just said a load of national things that county councils can't run. So, this is a real danger for them, is scrutiny, because it's easy to get elected, especially with your book, Matthew. But
thank you.
Do you see what I did there?
Thank you.
But
I'll send you
once
the
you
check
are
in the post.
elected, once you are elected, you're under that microscope, you're under that scrutiny, and you're being held to account for the things that you promised. And so far, what we've
Yeah.
seen with pretty much every county council is they're just not up to the job.
And Marcus, when you are sitting around the home this Christmas, thinking of the ghost of Christmas past and the ghost of Christmas present, when you look at the ghost of Christmas future, who is it that you see occupying number 10? Is it Keir Starmer? Is it Wes Streeting, Andy Burnham, Nigel Farage, or is it Kemi Badenoch? Who do you think is going to be the one in, maybe not next year, but in certainly the next election's time, going to be occupying that number 10 Christmas office?
Well, I think firstly, coming back to the timing is going to be linked to the economy. And I think that's going to be the link there. So that tells me it's not going to go all the way to 29. 28, I think, is more realistic. Some of the elections that are being pushed further afield, it feels like 28 is going to be the big year in many ways than one. So that's the first thing. Second thing for me, I think that you actually could end up with two changes within Labour's leadership before the next election. So that's a big possibility. And that, for me, is one that, again, will come from the mismanagement and misreading the room and actually just losing control. Well, in fact, they haven't got control from that point of view already. So for me, that's a priority in our point of view. And we've just got to carry on campaigning and winning the room and knocking the doors and just showing policy. So to answer the question, who'll be in number 10, it'll be a Conservative. And I think it'll be Kemi.
So come on then, who are these two? Who's the two Labour leaders going to be? Keir gets knocked out the door. Who takes over?
You want me to go on this one? I'll say.
Go on.
I think it's going to be Ed Miliband because of the membership. Yeah,
still the wrong brother.
And I think then, as the country rather rapidly implodes and they force him out after just a few months. I mean, bearing in mind that Labour don't really get rid of their leaders as easy as we have in the past. But I do think Ed will be a massive failure very, very quickly. And then I think potentially Shabana Mahmood.
Really? She has been positioning. Marcus, do you agree with Craig? You're not on team Streeting or team Burnham or maybe even Angela Rayner?
I think Streeting's the dark horse. I really do. And I think that, and I've said this quite openly as well, I think actually he's quite a hard-working individual and trying to do the right thing. Forgive me, the printer's just going to start. So if you hear the noise going off, this is live. This is live TV, so don't worry about it. So that's number one. I think printers go, and there we are. But I think that Wes Streeting for me is actually the one that I've got my eye on, because I think actually of all of Labour's individuals, he's got the credibility.
Well, and he does know how to stop strike. Oh wait, no, he can't stop strikes because the junior doctors are on strike at the moment.
Well, he has credibility.
The last thing, obviously, is to give you guys, in return for shamelessly plugging my stuff, a shameless plug for your stuff. In the Blue Corner, your podcast this year, because obviously every politician has to have a podcast. How is it going? You guys, I see it pop up all the time on my feed, and it is proper bare knuckle fighting of political debate, not literal fighting. Calm yourselves. Thoughts? How's it going? You enjoying it? Is it fun? What's the plan for 2026? Come on, give us an exclusive of what to look forward to.
There is no plan in the Blue Corner.
Much like the Labour government, no plan whatsoever.
Yeah. But this is why it works. It's just a couple of mates getting together once a week and talking about what's been going on. And, we just chew the fat between us and people are enjoying it. We're getting lots and lots of hits.
Brilliant.
Thousands of hits now. And it's a really good thing to do. I think it's Monday, isn't it? We're meeting up, Marcus, to do the next one.
Yes, and I tell you what we're doing as well is we're going to have guests. So, we are looking forward to 2026. And it's been a journey. And from the first podcast to the fourth and fifth, it's been fun. And I think for us both, We want to show that actually politics can be fun. We're talking about some serious issues at the same time, whether it's national, regional, local. And going into next year, we want to make sure that we can get other people on, their voices, bring a different approach to politics across the East Midlands, especially, which when I talk about East Midlands, that includes Leicestershire, Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire. And we want to make sure we're representing, the voices we are the voices of the public, but at the same time, have a bit of fun. And that's what it's all about. But there is a serious message. The reason we're doing it is because we feel that it's needed to represent Craig, his constituency, my constituencies around Nottinghamshire, and talk about the things that really matter, that maybe the press are missing, and certainly local reform don't want to talk about, especially.
Oh, I love it. I look forward to watching more of your episodes. I shall be travelling up to the Midlands when you call next, and I shall come and be on that sofa with you, and we can chew the fat and drink many a pint and slag Labour and Reform off as well. As long as you've got a Union Jack in the background, I'll be happy. I promise.
We'll even get a shandy in for you. How's that?
Oh, no. But I was going to say, I still have the leftovers of last night's Christmas podcast I was doing with a mate. I nearly finished my bottle of Jack Daniel's honey. So if anybody fancies a Christmas present for me, you know what to get me. Look, boys, thank you. You have been awesome guests. I genuinely do mean it. You are two of my closest political friends because we just get on. We're not the same generation, but my God, we have the same values, and we absolutely just work hard and keep calm and carry on. I will leave you with this wonderful rendition of the 12 days of Labour's disastrous year. It's been 12 months of chaos, £11 billion of government borrowing, 10 ministerial resignations, 93,000 NHS appointments lost due to strikes, £8 billion tax increases, the current fastest growing youth unemployment in the G7, 6 million working age people claiming benefits, 5 gold rings. Oh, well, I don't think that was on Lord Ali's donors list. Oh, no, that's 5 new Liberal Democrat life peerages. Sorry about that one. 4.9 unemployment percentage in November, 3.6 inflation, 2 tax-raising budgets, 1 manifesto, not worth the paper it was written on. So if you're running short of toilet paper this Christmas, I can suggest where to find some. What do you think of that, guys? Come on, it was, that's not bad. Thank you. Look,
I think that's worth a drink. I think that's worth a drink.
Oh, well, I need no other encouragement, young man. Look, enjoy it. Have a wonderful Christmas. Thank you so much for being on. To everyone who's watched this year, it's been great fun. We'll carry it on. There may even be some more exciting news about some more appearances and things for me in the mainstream media. Well, not in the mainstream media, but the media that actually people watch. But look, enjoy it. Have a wonderful Christmas. From Marcus, from Craig, from myself, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Keep calm and carry on, and make sure that there aren't any snowflakes around your Christmas table this year. Ta-ta, hurrah, have fun.
Merry Christmas.